All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be touching on the Sunday night showdown slate between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go and get into it. And so I do want to start off with a little bit of a game preview. They actually have the Steelers favored to win by 2.5 points, and I find that to be kind of crazy. The Cowboys are the better team. I'm sorry. I know Arthur Smith is dominating there. I still think a lot of Falcons owe him an apology. But anyways, that's the point I'm trying to make there. But this seems strange. Like, I would have favored Dallas to win in this game. And I know they haven't been looking good. And now you toss on the fact that someone like Brendan Cooks is going to be out as well. I kind of get it. Then we look at the Steelers injury report as well. Cordero Patterson got injured last week. And then you also saw Jaylen Warren get injured as well. And so that's going to lead to a decent amount of value in this game. I'm a little bit surprised at the game total as well. 44 or so. That seems like a lot. Again, if we're saying that Dallas is going to lose this game, that would mean that their offense is struggling. Because if Dallas loses this game, that's going to be why. Steelers defense is good. Steelers offense isn't that good, especially if you take out two kind of dynamic running backs. Justin Fields hasn't been as good as people want him to be. I'm sorry, that hasn't happened. So very interesting in terms of like lineup construction based off of how Vegas is currently seeing this game. And so one thing I want to do is kind of prepare you guys for what we should be expecting with Brendan Cooks off the field. And to me, guys, it's straight up Jalen Tolbert. If you guys have been following the channel at all, you've known that I've been talking up Jalen Tolbert a decent amount. I kind of said he looks like Brendan Cooks a decent amount. Now, that being said, Jalen Brooks has looked good. Turpin has looked good as well. We might see a few design plays go to Turpin as well, especially in the absence of Brendan Cooks not being there. But overall, I think it's going to be Jalen Tolbert really getting the biggest advantage, especially throughout this stretch that Cooks is out. Maybe it doesn't happen in this game, but he's the one that's going to benefit the most. But again, Jalen Brooks can step up. He's looked decent. Turpin, in the way they've used him, has looked good. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb's going to be someone that gets a decent amount of targets every single game. And then looking at the running backs, Hunter Lupke was something I mentioned during the props video for the last game with Dallas when they were on a primetime game. I don't think I was able to do a showdown video, but yeah, what we saw in that game was not shocking at all. If you guys have been following along, they had been making him a decent part of the offense, kind of a third down back. And because of that, Zeke actually saw not a lot of snaps, and Deuce Vaughn didn't see a lot of snaps. We're going to see Rico Dowdle continue to get around 45. Could see that number get up to 50% in this game. I would think he clearly is their best back, but tough to really love any of them. So in terms of which plays we want to be on for Dallas, it is pretty concentrated. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, obviously Dak. Rico Dowdle, I would argue, is a little bit too expensive there because I would rather get to Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson is already averaging more fantasy points than Rico. And I could argue at his price that you could put him into the captain spot. But you got Brandon Aubrey that's there as well. And guys, I really don't mind the idea of putting Tolbert into the captain spot. Again, he could take over for that Brendan Cooks role, and it wouldn't be shocking for one. And two, he already has kind of done that 9 targets in week 2, 6 targets in week 3 against the Giants. Not exactly part of the game plan. We kind of know the plan against the Giants, and that could be the same plan against the Steelers. Long, sustained drives. Don't make mistakes, and you'll win the game. But I do like Tolbert a lot. But that being said, Lupke's too cheap now. Brooks is too cheap. Turpin's like the only one I would argue is kind of correctly priced. And so for me, I actually don't mind the idea of getting to 4 Dallas Cowboys. Now, this could easily end up being a game in which we are seeing a pretty heavy low-scoring game. And so the amount of lineups that have like a kicker or DST in the winning lineups or close to the winning lineups, I think could be pretty heavy. Again, that's how I see this slate going. Vegas does not. And so let's go ahead and jump on into the Pittsburgh Steelers, kind of looking at their snaps. Najee Harris got the most work. Probably will be treated as more of a workhorse. Aaron Shumplink, I think is how you say his name. A little bit of a Shamplink. A little bit of a revenge game for him. He was, I'm pretty sure, was on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad last year, at least their training camp, if I recall correctly. Let's just double check that. I'm going to Google that. Yes, that's correct. So was with Dallas Cowboys like 2 years ago. So nothing too crazy there. He is cheap, though, and I do kind of expect him to get work. It might actually force the Steelers to, like, I don't know, give us a little bit of Calvin Austin out of the backfield. I could see, like, something weird like that happening. Maybe George Pickens gets some work out of the backfield. Because Najee Harris, you can't exactly play him on third downs, although I do expect to see kind of a healthy workload go to him. Darnell Washington had a highlight reel catch and run last week. It was kind of a fun play. If you guys haven't seen that. Just honestly, search on X is pretty awesome. And then Pat Fryermuth actually had a pretty heavy target share in that game. Receiver wise, the only one we can truly trust is going to be George Pickens. You also have Van Jefferson, who at his price we can sort of consider, but he's mostly not in play. Like, I would rather get to Calvin Austin as like a GPP play. Calvin Austin is someone that can have a big game if he's part of the game script, but I don't see that happening. And so really what we're looking at, I think, is going to be a healthy dosage of Najee Harris in this game. Maybe Justin Fields can have a good game as well. I know last week he did have a good box score game, okay? But I think anyone watching that game, especially in the first half, would say Fields was a decent reason as to why they were trailing in that game. Again, did have a good second half. Don't get me wrong. Had a lot of good stats. For fantasy purposes, he is someone we want to be on. So I'm happy to get to him still. And then George Pickens has just been getting a heavy target share. He is someone that we do need to be going out of our way to target as well, just given that heavy target share. Do I see him really having that massive game in this game? No, it's a tough matchup. He had a good game against Indy because Indy is an easy matchup. I don't want to say it's an extremely difficult matchup by any means, but I also don't know if we need to be going out of our way to really target him as well. So like this would like clearly be my like ideal build. Obviously 8,000, that's not even anywhere close to what we can make work. So let's see if there's anything that we can do to make this lineup work. And my first thought would be just to go off of Dak. You know, the chances of him having a massive game, I would say, are not as great. Now, do I like the idea of not being on Dak when I have Tolbert, CeeDee Lamb, and Jake Ferguson in a lineup? Not really. So I hope I can get to Najee instead in this build, but that's not exactly how it's going to work. So let's try taking Ferguson out. We'll go Harris, and let's see what that leaves us with. Lumpkey, actually, I don't hate this. This is fine. Like, this kind of works. I'd be okay with this. Let's try something else. So we'll take him out, and then we'll go Pat Fryermuth. I'm okay with Pat Fryermuth. I think he's more of a shoulder shrug type play. Like, if you end up on him, you're kind of okay with it. I was 3.8 left over. Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, Turpin. Kind of okay with all of these. We'll go Turpin for now. It's kind of okay. Kind of worse. Let's go ahead and see what the 9-to-5 lineup builder is telling us is the best build, though. And so to make the 9-to-5 lineup builder work, we just have to give it 2 data points to go off of. So I'm just going to cap the whatever max exposure for Dak and CeeDee Lamb in the captain spot. I just want to see what it's spitting out as the best lineup to give you guys that look. And then obviously if you guys are 9-to-5 members, you can kind of run this the way that you would want. But I just want to see what this is spitting out to us right now. So Justin Fields at the captain. Actually, I kind of agree with that. Like, if we're playing Justin Fields, we probably should be playing him in the captain spot. If not, I do think it makes kind of sense to fade him because we're basically saying he's going to rush the football very well or he's going to look terrible. Like, that's really it. So either in the captain spot, rushing the football well, having a good game there, or he's just not playing well. I kind of agree with that. Then it is getting to some Turpin. So it likes Turpin a decent amount. Let's see the exposures here. I'm curious. Chris Boswell really likes. Obviously, we wouldn't do that. But then it's getting to a lot of Harris, a lot of Lamb, a lot of Steelers D. Turpin a lot. He is a good value. Then Pickens, not getting to my guy Jalen Tolbert too much. Only 5% of Jalen Tolbert. So interesting there. Again, I kind of disagree with that. So that's an interesting thing that's spitting out to us as it sits right now. I mean, I get it. Look at the projections here. So Jalen Tolbert, 7%, Turpin 7 for a projection, Turpin about 5. It makes sense. Again, I think Turpin has just kind of shown to me that he's really good. So I want to be on him the most. But that's going to be all for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel.